tell you a story while we're cruising through here. When I drove for the Russian, when we ran papers, I could run like a wild man. And every time I come through Montana, I always think about it. And I had two deliveries, one in Lewiston, Idaho, and the other one was in I think Portland, Oregon. Anyways, I got DOT, and I was a rookie at the time. I guess we're all rookies every day in life. We learn stuff new every day. But I had gotten DOT inspected on I-90 in South Dakota, and I didn't know at the time because nobody told me, right? I mean, I learned all this shit pretty much on my own. Minus carpet and strapping and stuff like that. A buddy of mine, Carl, had he's the one that convinced me to get my CDL in 08 when everybody was hopeless. Sleeping on my mom's couch. Real estate had taken a tank and the market was crashed out, and I lost a shit ton of money, and plus my pride and hope and everything else. But anyways, so Carl had taken me out on the road and taught me how to chain, strap, and tow. But nobody taught me how to do oversize. My first oversize was 14 feet wide. That was my very first oversize. I think that's pretty wide. From Colorado to Indiana when I lived in Russia. Anyways, so I know nobody told me, you know. I mean, I learned the hard way. When you go through a DOT inspection, you're in the system. So whenever you go across any other scales, they'll see if you've been DOT inspected recently or whatever. And I had run. I was trying to make both deliveries on a Friday, which was impossible. But I had been up for like 30-some hours, and I was tired. And I got DOT in South Dakota, like I said, so I'm in the system. And then I go across scale. I go through the port of entry in Montana, and they green light me, and I go through. And everything was cool. I'm like, all right, on. But I didn't know. Typically, a lot of people that drive semi will know this, or people that I talk to. Anytime you go through the state, you have a weigh scale when you come into the state, and then you normally have one when you go out of the state. But in other states, like Oregon, Montana, Washington, California, I think pretty much that's it as far as that I know of. Anyways, they have multiple scales throughout the state because other highways will connect to major interstates and stuff like that. But anyways, so I thought that it was my first time in Montana. I had thought that, okay, I'm good to go because I entered the state of Montana and there was the scale. So I'm like, all right, I'm good. So they green lighted me, and I continue to boogie it. I'm going to Lewiston, Idaho first, and then over to Oregon. This was, I believe, on a Wednesday. So I was delivering Lewiston on a Thursday and then Portland on a Friday. That was the plan. So it's in the afternoon. I'm pretty tired. I come up to a second scale, and I'm like, man, that's impossible, man. I'm not even close to being out of Montana. It's such a big state. And anyways, it's a scale, so I go across it. Had I known then what I know now, I just would have ran right by the scale because I was illegal. And I'm obviously in the system for a DOT inspection, which I didn't know because nobody had told me. And so this is for any new drivers. Once you get DOT inspected, you're in the system for DOT, and you go across the scale. They can input the trucking company and the MC or the US DOT number, and they can see when the last time you were inspected. Well, the night, so it would have been, I think, a Monday or a Tuesday night. I think it was a Monday night. Anyways, they could see that I had been DOT inspected in South Dakota, so there's no possible way legally I can be at that scale on a Wednesday. There's no possible way. So they red light me in, and so like, okay, well. So I go in there with my truck binder, and the cop says, "Oh," he says, "how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hi, how you doing?" And blah blah blah. And anytime you go into a scale, you want to try to kill them with kindness, because if you're a dick, they're gonna keep you in there for a minute. And always have your paperwork in a binder, because if they got to sift through, coffee stained paperwork, they're gonna be kind of pissed off. So be organized. But anyways, so he looks at my truck paperwork and everything, and he's okay. So, well, let me see your logbook and see if you get out of here. So I was like, oh shit, he knows. So I gave him my logbook, and I said, I'm illegal. He goes, I know you're illegal. He said, I saw you in the system. Now again, if I would have known that I was in the system, because again, nobody told me, and that's why I do these videos to help out drivers and people, trying to, because nobody taught me this stuff, so I'm trying to share the information. So anyways, he said, yeah, I know you're illegal. He said, I saw you got DOT'd in South Dakota. I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, Kurt. He said, I'll tell you what, take this out to the truck. He gives me my logbook back. He said, take this out to the truck and try to make it right. He said, I'm going to give you a citation, and I'm going to put you out of service. And he said, you got to stay here for 10 hours. He said, there's a bathroom behind the scale here. He said, we'll be closed at dark. He said, but the bathroom's open 24/7. So I'm like, all right, thank you very much. So I went out there and tried to do what best I could on my logbook to make up, that I actually shut down somewhere and got some sleep. And then I don't think he put me out of service. I think he just gave me a fine. I don't think he put me out of service. That's why he wanted me to correct my logbook. Anyways, I make it right, and I go back in, I show him, and he's like, all right, that's good enough. And so he says, Kurt, he says, go here, he says, get some sleep, go to sleep. And he said, I'm sure you got to be exhausted. I said, yes, sir, I am exhausted. And I shook his hand. I said, thank you very much. He said, I was wrong, and I got to own it. I said, but, at the end of the day, you're a nice guy. And I buttered his balls a little bit, and the citation was like $286. And the story, so I go to pay the citation when I'm at the house, and I'm calling Montana, and nobody can find my citation. Nobody can find my citation anywhere. So they're like, call this municipality, because that's where the scale house was at. So I called that courthouse, and no, we don't have any record of you being cited anywhere in Montana ever. And I'm like, so I tell them the situation, and they're like, well, it's quite possible that the officer, just ripped up the citation after you went to sleep. And they're like, it can't happen, especially if you're nice to them. And so anyways, come to find out, the cop, he must have ripped up the citation, because I've been pulled into Montana just last year, I believe it was, and they did a level 2 on me, and I was able to go clear, go free. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool. But I mean, it can't happen, especially if you're killing with kindness. And then there was another time I got DOT in South Dakota. This was last year. Or maybe it was this year. Today is March 20th, 21st. No, today is March 21st, 2021. So, no, it had to have been last year. So, anyways, I'm going across Minnesota, or I'm going across South Dakota again. South Dakota has, for some reason, I just got DOT again to South Dakota. I've been out 3 weeks now, and I got DOT again to South Dakota on the beginning of my trip. I passed, had my ELD all plugged in, everything was cool. Comp was one of those know-it-alls, but anyways, so I wonder. Well, they South Dakota, they like to do this shit. They'll set up inspection stations in the rest areas. So I see that they have orange signs on the side of the road, and I'm legal. I got my ELD plugged in, so I'm legal. And so I see these fucking roads are rough. Anyways, fix my camera before it falls again. So I see they got an inspection site open up at a rest area, and it's right before I get into Minnesota. So I pull into the rest area, and there's two guys sitting in a van, and I've seen this before up near Watertown, South Dakota too. They set up a rest area inspection site, and I pull through, and they give me the thumbs up that I can just keep going, so that was cool. But on this particular situation or story or day, they were going to do a DOT on me. So I have my headlights turned, I have all my lights turned on because it's a day like today, overcast. And so the guy comes up to the truck and he said, I'm going to do a level 2 on you. I said, not a problem. And he saw that my headlight was out. And I've been having a problem with these aftermarket headlights from the I-80 truck stop over there in Walcott, Iowa on I-80. I've been going through bulbs like crazy with these lights. And I put them in with gloves on. I wipe the bulbs down so there is no oil on the bulb. I know someone say, oh, you can't put them with your bare hands. Yeah, I know that with halogens you can't put them in with your bare hands. But even brand new on the package, I always take a clean paper towel and I wipe down the bulb just in case. So anyways, he says I have a headlight out, so he gives me a warning, and so he goes back to his van, and he comes up, and he says, you're not wearing glasses, and I said, yeah, I know. He said, well, I said, okay, and he's like, well, you didn't have your glasses on when you pulled into the rest area for the inspection. I said, okay. And he flips over my license and he says, you are required to wear correction lenses when you're driving. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's possible. He says right here on your license. I said, I've never needed glasses a day in my life to drive. So anyways, there's a truck parked right, not right next to me, but the next spot over. And I tell him, man, these fucking roads are rough. Anyways, I tell him, I said, I can read those letters and numbers on that truck right there. So I read them off left to right. And he looks at me and he says, you're definitely not vision impaired. I said, yeah, I know. He said, but it's marked here on your CDL. So I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. He's like, yeah, he said, I got to give you a citation. I'm like, motherfucker. So anyway, so he says, and you got to pay it before you leave. It was $316, I think. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So anyways, I pay the citation and I go on my way. So when I get back to the house, I go ahead and I go back to DMV and I take another vision test and I pass. So I had to get a new license, which was $25, I think. And then so on my court date, I went to South Dakota, to Sioux City, or to Sioux Falls, and the DA, I explained the whole entire thing, that I had been up all night, drove all the way there. I had to hurry up and come back home, get in the truck, but I had to leave back out, so I had to hurry up and get this shit done. So I tell the DA exactly what happens, and I show her my new license, I show her my old license, and I said it was a clerical mistake. And she's like, wow. She said, well, why did you? She said, you already paid the citation. I guess that's like an admittance of guilt. And I tell her, I said, well, you have to pay it before you leave, or they won't let you leave. And she's like, what? I said, yeah, they will not let you leave until you pay the fine. And she said, that is absolutely ridiculous. I said, yeah, tell me about it. You know, that's the problem with all these states and CDLs. Other states don't recognize other states' laws. So us drivers are ass out when it comes to you go into a different state and their laws and reasoning is completely different than somebody else. So us drivers, of course, again, in our pockets for that monetary value to pay the states that we roll through, and so then we're ass out. So then we pay the citation, which is an admittance of guilt, which at that particular time it wasn't my fault. So I show her the new license with my new vision test, and she goes, yeah, you don't need glasses to drive. I said, I know. And so anyway, so she dropped all the charges and they reimbursed me my money. But now, so I had to pay $25 for a new license. I had to pay the fuel to go up there to South Dakota. I had to pay the fuel back to Wisconsin. So right there, that's probably $100, $125. So it was, you know, you're at the mercy of these states when it comes to being in these trucks. And, you know, people, I remember one time I was over in California when I drove for the Russian, and this black lady, she's a security guard, and I'd been rolling hard. We were running papers, so of course, you know, we're just running like a bunch of cowboys, and I had to deliver on Friday in LA, and then I had to hurry up and go pick up another load so I could make money, or else I'm sitting there for the entire weekend in California. Well, you're not making any money if you're sitting. Like I always say, if it ain't turning, you ain't earning. And so I hurry up and I get over to this tubing company with this metal tubing going over to Chicago. And the black lady says, because my face was all flush, and obviously I'm tired, and blood pressure's probably up and running hard, you know, day after day after day. And she goes, oh, you look tired. I said, yeah, I am tired. She goes, what? I mean, how tiring can it be? I mean, all you guys do is drive. And I'm like, really? I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, what time do you get off work? She said, I get out of here at 11. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. You can go ahead and help me tarp this load. And this, you know, at the time it was like 100 degrees or whatever, but at night it cooled down. I said, so after you've been sitting here all day working, now I want you to come out and help me tarp this load. And I said, I got to put blankets on it. I got to throw 8-footers and so on and so on and so on. I said, they're very heavy, so, and you're going to get dirty, so go ahead and get ready to help me tarp. And she kind of looked at me like odd, but also kind of scornfully, and was like, I'm not going to help you tarp that load. But people think all we do is drive, you know, and even if you're a if you're a dry box or a reefer or whatever the case is, I mean, you got to meet those appointments and everything else, but shame on all these people that think all we do is drive. You know, all you do is drive, and it's like, that just doesn't compute to me. That people say all you do is drive, and we don't just drive. There's a lot of, we don't just stick the key in the ignition and turn it on and just roll down the road as long as you want, and then when you get tired, we just pull over. You know, you can only drive 11 hours out of the day. You can start with a 70-hour work week. Every day ticks down, so if you're loading and unloading, and you got your pre-trip inspection, your fuel times. So on average, we work anywhere between probably 12 and 14-hour days. So, and we start with a 70-hour clock, so we'll just do simple math. If I start with 70, and I work that day only 10 hours, now the next day I have 60 hours available. Then once that 10 hours go, we're just going to use 10-hour increments. Once that 10 hours goes, now I have 50 hours to work. So on and so on and so on. And then when I get down to 10 hours or 5 hours or even 1 hour, wherever I'm at that particular moment, I have to shut my truck down for 34 hours straight. So it's called a restart or a reset. It all depends on how you word it. And we have to stay there for 34 hours. But when I ran papers, I didn't do restarts. I didn't do resets. I did what they call rolling resets and rolling restarts. I was like a wizard. I made the time reappear and disappear. So with ELDs is a little different, but I won't get into the way that I do it now. But anyways, I just a lot of people don't know the trucking industry, and obviously, why would you? You don't do it. Why would you know about it? So, anyways, I just figure I'd share a couple little truths with you, Kurt Sabella stories. But anyways, I think you guys are done looking at the road and listening to my BS. So, anyways, I hope you found the scenery beautiful as I do. I like to share my trips with you guys and let you know where I'm at. So I'll be shutting down in Missoula, Montana in about 15 miles wherever the truck stop is. Did a restart over in Spokane, Washington. Got up there this morning. I'm going to do another video on that because a lady told me I couldn't be in the store at the Petro there in Spokane if I didn't have a mask. Anyways, I'll share that story with you guys when I stop, and then I'm going to do a video on how to strap pipe, because I see a lot of these guys and gals going down the road with pipe that's all leaning and everything else, and I'll explain what it's all about. So, anyways, I hope you found and I'm going to do a video on the crack in the windshield, because I got pegged right there with another stone, and that's what caused that crack. So I was a stone, and then a couple days later I got pegged right there on the passenger side. But anyways, I bought a product on Amazon, and I'm hoping it's going to work. It's like some sort of liquid that I can actually fill, a clear liquid, fill the crack, and I'm gonna do a video on that once I receive the product when I get to the house. I'm gonna see if it works. If it does, I'll share that the product with all you drivers, and instead of replacing your windshield, if this stuff works, maybe you guys can just buy the product. And it wasn't crazy expensive, but anyways, I hope you like it. I hope you like the channel. I hope you like the video. I hope this video finds you well. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.